So the number one struggle we have when it comes to dieting. Now, wouldn't you love to be able to start a diet just with that added confidence that this will be the last diet that you go on? So there's no more yo-yo effect, no more heartache and disappointment. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? It would make you just feel so much more confident. Alrighty. And so today I'm going to explore why dieting can be a sad, lonely and hard place, and also how we can make the dieting process or the weight management process easier for you. Alrighty. So food is relevant in everyone's health and fitness journey. And when it comes to dieting, there's going to be, most probably going to be changes that are needed within our diet as such. And when I say diet, I mean everyday diet in that regard. And change is hard. It's really hard. So we want to be able to make the process as easy as possible so that we're more likely to stick to that process. Because once we can stick with it and be really consistent within that, then we're going to have that long-term success that we're all hoping for. Alrighty. Now, food is love. We view food as love and we get love from food. We have special occasions, birthday celebrations, we have family dinners or family lunches on a Sunday, get-togethers, which are all revolving around food. What else do we do to celebrate and associate food with love? Now, when it comes to a hormonal profile, we get our melatonin production comes from our carbohydrate intake. And how this works is so our carbs increase the production of an amino acid known as tryptophan. And tryptophan is then a precursor to serotonin, and serotonin is then a precursor to melatonin. And melatonin being our sleep-inducing hormone. And now why I tell you this is because being able to produce melatonin, so a lack of sleep is going to reduce our ability to sleep. And it's going to affect the quality of our sleep as well. And when we have affected sleep, then it affects our hunger hormones. So we're more likely to want to eat when we're lacking or not getting enough sleep. And let me tell you, as I mentioned already, dieting is a hard process, or it most certainly can be a hard process. So we don't want to add any more obstacles or any more challenges within that process than we have to. Alrighty. And when everyone sleeps well, then everyone's loving well, and the world is a more happier place to be. So sleep is ultra important when it comes or fits into our dieting process in that space. Alrighty, so we feel love, we enjoy food, it makes us feel good and it makes us feel happy. We enjoy eating it. And food brings back memories. Some of our best memories and most of our best memories are based around and centered around food. And with then that memory comes the emotion of love. Alrighty, and that's because the emotion is evoked. So that emotion of love is then evoked. So I come from a Italian heritage. So for me, I have huge amounts of memories around food. My nonna cooking in the kitchen and me helping making pasta, then sitting down to big long lunches, big long tables for a lunch. For special occasions, conversation, lots of laughter, good times, creating those memories. And they're all revolving or they're all based around food. So the emotion that we attach So the attachment to food can be based around memories that we have formed. Alrighty, so an example for you could be, if you went to your nana's, or your nana and papa looked after you, for example, maybe they took you for ice cream, on a regular occurrence, or your nana might have, cooked a special dessert each time that you came over. Or maybe as you're growing up as a teenager, you used to catch up with your mates and go and have a burger. So all based around food and all based around building those memories. So food is associated with love, and there's love associated with food. And that is where it can make dieting hard. And that within itself is our number one struggle when it comes to dieting. Excuse me, the emotion that we attach to food. So dieting and starting or implementing a new diet can require us to remove certain foods from our eating habits, but also it removes us, or it can remove us from certain social occasions as well, or eating particular foods that we have an attachment of or have attached the emotion of love to. And then we feel as if we're withdrawing ourselves away from love and away from loving situations, loving feelings, and the feelings of receiving love. So we're actually giving ourselves less love in that space. And that is why it can feel very lonely, it can feel very sad, and it can feel very hard. And it can feel depressing and not enjoyable whatsoever. And as we do know, if something's not enjoyable, then we're less likely to stick with it and stick with it in the long term. And once something feels like that, it's no wonder, that we don't stick with it. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat this morning. Alrighty, so for example, if someone's feeling depressed and, they're sitting down for lunch and they're eating their favorite food for lunch, and then they're feeling overweight and they're feeling depressed because they're feeling, just lethargic and heavy and they just don't feel good. So, that they then feel as if they have to start a diet to get to a better place in that space. So, that then makes them feel even more depressed. So they start dieting, and when they're no longer then eating, so they'll no longer then eat their favorite food at lunch. So they may then move into a space where they feel as if they have to be on a restrictive diet. So they might then, enter into the equation chicken, broccoli, and rice for lunch. So here's somebody that's not feeling like they're feeling depressed to start with. They then feel overweight and yucky. So they feel as if they've got to go on a diet to feel better, which makes them feel even more depressed in that space. And then they're removing something from, their everyday eating habit, their favorite food in this instance, and replacing it with something that they don't actually enjoy. How can that actually be sustainable? And how can that actually work? And it just ends up actually compounding the problem. And then dieting for that individual becomes really hard and really challenging. However, what we need to understand in this situation, that love comes from food. Let me say that again. Love comes with food. It doesn't come from food. Alrighty? It's not food within itself that gives us love. Love comes with the food. It's the memories that we evoke, or the memories that we share, and the experiences that we share around food that then gives us love, not the actual food itself. Alrighty, now we can still achieve that level of love, and we can still have those emotions. We can still have those feelings without having to overindulge or eat to excess. Or eat the foods that aren't serving us and eat them, overeat them in that space. So there's a big difference between food coming from a place of love and then love coming from our food. So there is a difference there, and understanding that difference can make the process so much easier for you. Alrighty, so love doesn't come from the food that you're eating. It comes from the memories, it comes from the experience, it comes from the friends or the people that you might be sharing that experience with. It doesn't actually come from the food itself. So, a question to ask yourself if you're struggling with starting a new diet, or you're struggling with a diet when you actually, start that diet. You get to a place where it does, really start to get hard. So, and this, can be from a place of, I've tried everything, So ask yourself the question, how many meals per day do you need to get enjoyment from? And how many meals a day do you need to feel love from? It could be 1 meal a day. That's cool. And it also could be, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. And everyone's different, and that's quite fine. So how many meals do you need to feel love from? Alrighty. And know that we don't need to feel love from every meal. Like, we don't need to. And don't get me wrong here, by all means, I believe we definitely need to enjoy the food that we're eating, as I've kind of touched on, because if we're not enjoying our food, then we're not going to stick to it, and it's not going to be a sustainable practice for us. So we need to be choosing foods to eat that we actually enjoy. However, our daily diet doesn't need to be, chicken, rice, and broccoli, so to speak. Unless, of course, that's something that you actually look forward to eating. And that's fine. I actually quite enjoy chicken, rice, and veggies, which will include broccoli. That's something that I enjoy. And, I put, spices on my chicken. I put lemon on my rice, which, I actually really like the taste of that. So that's something that I do enjoy. So I'm able to eat that on a consistent and on a regular basis. But if it's something that you don't enjoy, you're not going to, it's going to make that process so much harder for you. And we want to, when it's a dieting phase, we want to be able to make the process as easy as possible for you. Because if it is hard, then it just becomes really draining and really exhausting. So let's find the foods that you like to eat, that serve you, and that fit best, or that are the best fit, rather, to fit into the results that you want and move you closer to the goals that you want. And I want to touch a little bit on cheat meals or cheat days and such here, because I'm not a fan of that term, or I'm not a fan of that process whatsoever. But of course, this is just personally my opinion. I just don't believe that you need to have a cheat meal as such, or a cheat day, because I believe that you are able to eat those foods and are able, like whatever you, associate as your cheat food or your cheat meal, you are able to implement that and put that into your regular eating plan so that you can enjoy it on a regular basis within your plan. So within, a plan that's made for you based around the goals that you want to achieve. Alrighty. So we can add them in to your day-to-day eating. So how much enjoyment meals do you need to have per day? Ask yourself that question and be really honest with yourself. because it can make the process so much easier, as I say. So by, maybe having to eat a certain way or have certain things during the day, but then knowing that you're going home that night to enjoy the family meal or to enjoy a certain food that you really love, that can actually make the process so much easier. And it will reduce the feelings of restrictiveness, because that's a big one. A lot of people believe that they're restricted when it comes to diets. So we want to, again, make the process as easy as possible for you, so it's something that you stick to on a consistent basis. Alrighty, and you need to be able to set that standard for yourself or make yourself aware that it will make the process more challenging if you head down the path of a restrictive diet as such, And I want you to actually ask yourself, when you start a new diet as such, is this a diet that I will still be able to stick to or still be happy doing in 6 months' time? So, whether that be starting a paleo diet or a keto diet or, low carb diet, any diet whatsoever, you need to be able to stick with that on a consistent basis to be able to make it work for you. Alrighty, so you can still have results and you can still move forward without restricting yourself completely, because I don't believe in restriction whatsoever. I don't believe it's possible. The more you restrict yourself, unfortunately, I see it quite a lot. And even within myself, I've experienced it too. If I restrict myself from a certain food, as in not have it, and actually, I guess, have that mental chatter around not being allowed to have it, or, it'll make me fat, or it's going to ruin my diet, then I'm more likely to think about it, keep thinking about it until I actually end up binge eating that particular item. So let's actually fit it into an eating plan, a daily eating plan for you, so that you're able to enjoy the food within a plan that's going to work for you and the results that you want to achieve. Alrighty, so, things happen. Life happens. So don't allow yourself to get into the habit of creating a really restrictive plan that's not going to serve you going forward. Alrighty, and it's known as balance. So having, one particular food, it might be chocolate, for example. And I'm not saying, go out and, eat a humongous amount of chocolate every day. Absolutely not. However, we can fit chocolate into your weekly eating plan so that you don't feel restricted and you're still getting your favorite foods, and you're able then to enjoy them in a space of feeling that you can have it and it's okay. So it makes that mental process, again, so much easier for you. Alrighty, so something to ask yourself and some food for thought there. And remembering then, it's the emotion of love or the emotion that we attach to food that makes dieting, that is the number one struggle when it comes to dieting. So separate the emotion that is brought about by the food that you're eating. If you can separate the emotion and separate yourself away from that, not away from the emotion, because we can still experience and we can still enjoy the emotion, but it doesn't need to be attached to a certain food as such. So as the examples I put in there, eating ice cream with your grandparents. So it's the emotion of love is attached to ice cream. So that's why you feel as if you have to eat it all the time. But if we can separate that emotion away from the particular food, then it will make our dieting process so much easier in that space. Alrighty, so love yourself and honor yourself and really empower yourself in that space to choose foods within an eating plan that are going to serve you, as well as foods that you enjoy, but you're able to take the emotion away from the actual food. Alrighty, and as I said, when starting a diet, ask yourself, is this something that I can stick to for the next 6 months? And if you can't, then don't start it, because it's only going to lead to that heartbreak and that disappointment that you may have experienced in the past. Alrighty. I hope you enjoyed that video, guys, and you found that extremely beneficial for you in that space. If anything's resonated with you, please hit the love button. If you're watching this on replay, just hit #replay below so I know that you've seen it. And I hope you, as I say, found it very beneficial. Until next week, as I said, I'm really happy that the technology worked today. I didn't have that level of stress before I started, which was amazing. Alrighty, so if you're needing any help around an eating plan or around implementing those daily healthy habits into your life, please reach out. I'm here to help you. I'm here to serve you in the best way that I can to help you move forward towards the results that you want. Alrighty, so reach out and let's have a conversation about how the best way I can help you to move forward. Alrighty, till next week, have the best day.